This is not the last poem in November of 2021, but it was, like a lot of the last ones I've just read, posted on November the 30th of that year, 2021. It's number 3,437, and it's called The Final Stretch. So it is the final, almost there. We're almost there. I'm reading ever so slowly towards the end of Wobble by the beloved Ray Armantrout. How many times I say her name just to say it, write it, just to type it, and to showcase a hero of mine, and this time today, while seemingly staring down the same page for days, at the same page of spare and precisely placed words. To commemorate, I take a photo for my guy, the lover I have yet to touch, even after all but 2 entire years, lifetimes, as it were, thanks to lives lived in separate hemispheres and a human war with a virus. I snap a photo just for him of me reading slowly towards the end of Wobble. For whatever reason, but of course, the photo that comes of the event shows what appears to be a miniature version of wee me reading a gargantuan-sized version of her book. An appropriate allusion, if ever there was one. I zap the photo to the other hemisphere, as we do, and I immediately get a call from him, a video call. He calls me because I have asked him to call, but only him. At present, while I slowly and slower still work my way toward the end of this wonderful book, I will only accept his call, no other. So, I answer his call happily and read him 2 of the poems from this wonderful, seemingly gigantic book, one that certainly has dwarfed me in a simple photograph, and quite hilariously adding here and there to the words from the 2 poems I have chosen randomly and urgently to read to him, adding my own words, for worse rather than better, of course, as if there is need to explain anything. There never is with the Lady Armantrout. But I giddily explain and re-explain, attempting to show a few of the many facets of a short few of the brief stanzas or sections. First I read instructions, and as it floats down its single page while flying like a supersonic jet through our brains, while gaining impossible speed, yet slowly and steadily floating, the words, as they do, down that singular dizzying path, all the way to that hard stop, right at the bottom, as the jets in our brains have spun out of control, maddeningly, and yet quietly, landing us both somewhere looking at the same map of London. A map with 2 exits out of the metropolis, one in red, the other in blue. A precocious baby has died in the arms of a mother who may have given birth to her the day before. An ogre of a man has shot off unremembered words filled with such condescension that indicate he blames his mother for the baby's sudden death. He blames the mother for the baby's sudden death. Words that loom like the supersonic explosions we cannot get out of our heads as we stare quietly at the map and wonder which exit is to be ours. Kaboom. Second, I read trick, which reveals quite assuredly the great riddle of how you don't have it unless you've got it, or can get it, that is, but how? I excitedly tell him about my poem in response, in which I've so proudly, I think at first, turned the riddle back onto the poem, but then it hits me, and I'm so excited I can barely give emotion to my thoughts, much less actual words, which have, as it turns out, been done irrevocably and quite already for me, and you, and my guy. In explaining how clever I am, I realize I've been duped. There's no riddles linger. Every answer is right here, and succinctly on the page. The Sphinx has let out her dirty little secret for all to hear and know and rue. It is a fait accompli. What need, therefore, is any additional accomplice? Zilcho, nada, none. The secret's out. It's been delivered directly by the poet. She had it all along, played with it right in front of us, and then finished it so that the secret exists no more. She knows this, because we know it too. She can't take it back. And my paltry attempt to juggle her well-worn baubles of verity for a tiny giddy moment, thinking that I was in any way adding or even replying or fancifully retorting to her brilliant words, were nothing but a fraud, an attempt to impress my love with a juggling act. It lasts for maybe a moment or two, but for what? Because the secret exists no longer. There's no need for a show. No need at all. No need to tell. No need for frippery. Not even for any engagement of any kind. And while he does indeed care for me, he cares not a jot for jugglery. The show's over, the juggling's done, and even in my embarrassment, I'm elated to have been there, to have been so intimate with the words and with my love, perhaps such intimacy that I've never even known. With the palatable hope, or rather the sheer knowledge, the fact, that there will be more and more and much more to come.